we're all going to have this, where your child is going to ask you for your opinion, and that becomes all of a sudden a very big trap where we freeze. It's like, okay, if you tell me that you're going to eat dirt, right? So, okay, I understand. Right now, unfortunately, we have no choice to say, okay, bon appetit, have a great dirt meal, unfortunately. But if you say, should I eat dirt? Right, so then what should we do? She's asking for your opinion. Mama's asking for hadracha. Please give me guidance. So what should we do? And the answer is so pashut. The answer is if she was normal, she wouldn't have a question. Right? If she was normal, she wouldn't say, hey, I love dirt. Do you think I should eat dirt? So enechanami, she's not as sick as before, because before she would just eat the dirt. Now she's saying, no, do you think I should go eat dirt? In other words, if you look at the question that they're asking, and it's something that only a dysfunctional person would ask, so then you see that she's sick. Okay. So therefore, you have to realize that if you're going to say, I really think you should, and say the right thing, then here's what's most likely to happen. First of all, she's going to do the wrong thing because of reactance and because she's still cuckoo. And then she's going to feel that I let you down and I didn't listen to you. And then when she feels hurt, she'll feel I'm such a loser. And that's bad. The same way that when they're not asking us, we support them to do bad, which is my chiddush, really. No normal person would ever think that. It's funny, I had a parent that came to me, an Israeli father, and he tells me, when he came, he said, Avi, what are you going to tell us? We rewarded him when he was good. We fought with him when he was bad. We did everything. So everybody does, will fight you and stop you. You shouldn't do bad. Everybody does that. Some people say, you know what, they took him on a trip to Miami. He says, we went to Miami with him because he was good for the whole Sukkos. And then 3 days later, he was bad again. But nobody looked at this wall and found the loose brick that I'm going to enable you to do bad things that we don't like, because then you will feel supported, and then you become healthier, and then you could stop doing those very bad things. That's cuckoo. That's totally meshuggah. And if it didn't work so well, right, then we wouldn't do it. And that's why the world hears the stuff that we do and says, what? The whole world agrees you don't supply, cigarettes. But what they don't understand is how many of our kids quit smoking cigarettes. We're breaking statistics. So they don't stick around for the ending. So it's just very cute, because nobody ever thought of that. So we understand, under doctor's orders, me the doctor, the fake doctor, and under your rabbi, where it works, that we will support and enable bad behavior. That's the whole chiddush of TP. Why? Because we really want the behavior to stop. As you've said with your own daughters, with the mushal, which we use it as a mushal, but it's a fact, with the tattoos, that one kid that you stopped and negotiated and tried to stop, and that kid is covered with tattoos. And the other one we said, of course, we understand because we know it's driven by pain, and under doctor and expert and rabbi's orders, we embraced it, and there's less. Okay? So we have a cheshbon to that. Now, the only thing that happened was she got a little bit healthier, enough to say, hey, do you think I should go to the wedding like this? And you look at her and she's wearing a bathing suit. If she was normal, she wouldn't have a question. Ma, which dress do you like better? Really, I really want to know. One of them is an edel, nice, decent-looking dress, and the other one is Hashem Yirachim. Now, all the parents are like, oh, maybe now she's going to listen. If she was normal, she wouldn't have a question. So if the question is about something that a normal person would not have the question, so here's what we're left with. If you're going to say this way, reactance, which is so real, look it up in the encyclopedia, is going to cause more of a chance that they're going to go this way. That's the first problem. Second problem is you blow your cover. What heals the actual hole in the heart, what's the healing part, is feeling support. And therefore, almost always, there's always, by the way, there's exceptions to every rule, right? But the idea is, I don't want you to blow your cover. For example, when kids start getting really healthier and they start saying, I put on tefillin, you need to know how to react so you don't blow your cover. as long as you are saying, you know, I really think that one would be better, and it's the more dysfunctional one, you're being very wise, because what we know is the most important part is that feeling of support. And when you support the dysfunction, that for sure, to me, is the safest way to go. In other words, every therapist in the world would disagree with me, and every normal person would disagree with me, and I also would disagree with me, if not for the fact that this trick really works. You know, I'll tell you where we're coming from. Almost everybody out there, in the trauma centers that our kids end up by, in the rehabs that our kids end up by therapists that our kids end up by, most of them love the situation that we present with. They say it's unbelievable. We never had a kid who had best friends with mommy and tati, mommy and daddy, mommy and abba. Never. I get calls all the time from therapists. Avi, another one of your kids came. I'm like, how do you know? What do you mean? We have an off-the-derech kid struggling with all kinds of stuff. And how's it going at home? Sure, I live at home. My parents love me. My family embraces me. Everything is great. We are the only people, I think, really getting that result. Right? And we're being criticized by the people who don't get that result. But they like the result. For that alone, it's worth it. Peace and quiet, and the kid feels supported, which is really the most you can do. And they're giving that up. They're giving up on that because they think that you have to say no. But like, hello, does anybody think that that no word still works on these kids? We've all tried that. We don't start when the kid's 2 years old doing twisted parenting. We're talking about pikuach nefesh, stage 4 kids, where you tried the brake on this car for the last 100 stop signs, and you hit the brake and they just sailed right through. So the brake ain't working. So like I always say, I never asked any parent to give up on any boundary that was working. Right? They say, Avi, you give up on all boundaries, no boundaries? I'm like, these boundaries aren't working for years. And our kids place more boundaries on themselves by being normalized. They all of a sudden start acting normal. You don't have to say, you know, you have to be in by this time, you have to tell me where you're going. All of these things, within a short time, almost always, changes as the parents are made. So they're still angry about, they don't like the concept, but they don't stick around to see the testimony of the parents. Almost, always. Nothing's perfect, but also not everybody's doing it perfectly. So they don't like this idea, but we're doing it because I like the result. Now, let's understand. The whole therapy world would say it's meshuggah. You got to tell your child what you think and be the voice of reason. I'm realizing that because of that, parents do that, and they're losing out a much bigger power, the power of influence, which you parents have. So our kids you achieve the greatest connection to your children and support system, and everybody is applauded. I have mamash feedback all the time. The problem is that none of those people who like our result would ever get from point A to point B to go through 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of KiPville. They would never end up there, because at some point they're all going to tell you, oh no, this you can't tolerate. This, now you have to put your foot down. So they're always looking to pull out the respirator because they feel like, oh, this you can't tolerate. It causes more dysfunction, it causes more drugs, it causes more fighting at home. Shomrim, Hatzalah, and the proof is in the pudding. Anybody call Shomrim and Hatzalah this week here? It's so rare, if ever. And once we get the TP medicine in and we do some trips, mamish, we're saving so many. But they give that up for this. So the question is very deep. That's why I'm spending so much time on it. It really depends on what you think, what you really believe is the medicine for your kid. If you understand that the respirator is the medicine for your kid, the most that you can do, not pshat that you're not doing, not pshat that, oh, I'm giving up, I can't say, I can't give my opinion. It's like, whatever my opinion and my encouragement and my words can do, my influence, my power of influence is 100 times stronger. So that's really what happens to parents. They buy in to a certain degree, but they'll abandon it because they don't really believe in the power of influence. So as soon as I can go ahead and give my opinion, I think that my opinion is going to be more valuable than not giving my opinion. But what I'm here to say is no. The power of not giving your opinion or giving the wrong opinion, which will create more power of influence, because when you support dysfunction, that is your core your gift. That's your power. That's the most power that you have. So again, if you don't buy into it, you don't have to buy into it. And if it's not being done properly, it's not being done properly. And if you're not here with your Rav, blah, blah, blah. But if you really understand that right now there's a medicine that I can give my kid, and that's the supporting and the enabling of the dysfunction, okay, in order to disable the rebellion, to have a much calmer kid, a kid who's home. All of a sudden I get texts, within a few weeks or months, the door's open, kid's friendlier, God willing. It's amazing. And the other side never gets that. Like they could be fighting for 4 years, the door's closed, and they wish the door would be open, but they're busy trying to do something and never gets done. By us, it's like, boom, we're in Vegas, right? Vegas is a skula to take a haircut. You've proven that. You take your kid to Vegas, it's a skula, the kid takes a haircut, right? Things happen. We took a haircut after how many, who knows how, a year? 6 months. Why? Because he became more normal. But how did you take him to Vegas? He wouldn't have gone to Vegas if you're fighting and you're trying to get those rules and consequences because you're in a war. So I look at it like disconnecting from the respirator can never be the right thing to do. So now let's go back to the question. The kid asks you, Ta, what should I do? Now, think about it. If the question is not a normal question, it's not a real question, it's not, should I have chicken or steak tonight? It's not anything normal. That means the child is sick. If the child is sick, they need support. And just because they're asking, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't give the most powerful support that I can give, which happens to be, in KiPville, is supporting the dysfunction. If they're asking you, okay, so this is a very good question. If they ask you, should I eat kosher, should I eat treif? So now, let's understand, we're going to put away the Torah for 1 second, and then we're going to invite the Torah back in. Okay. Somebody's asking you, should I eat, let's say you're not Jewish. You're the housekeeper. Someone says, should I eat kosher or should I eat treif? They're not going to become religious because you say you should eat kosher. If they're not sure what they should do, so they're not going to choose to be closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a deep way, a meaningful way, because you said, yeah, you should eat kosher. It doesn't make anybody from. So what are they asking you the question for? Probably to see, I don't know, it's weird. Maybe they're testing you. Maybe they want to see if you're going to try to chap a mitzvah or if you'll be disappointed. It's like going over to you. Mommy, should I cut my finger off or should I keep my finger on? Obviously, if you're asking that question, you're cuckoo. Over here, if you're asking that question, you're spiritually cuckoo. He's not from. The fact that he's not from is because he would eat treif and does eat treif. So he's probably just trying to feel, like, what do you think your purpose is in our relationship? Now, we're going to invite back in the Torah, because besides for just trying to understand the brain of the child, everything needs to be done al pi das Torah. If your das Torah tells you you're not allowed to say treif, then of course you can't. So far, no, if your das Torah says that it's not a problem to say treif, you should say, if you enjoy eating treif, you should eat treif. Why? Let's understand why. I'm not pro-treif. Okay? Because he's looking for something from you. He's looking for something. What's he looking from you? Acceptance. He wants to see that there's no religious war, that you're not trying to pressure me to embrace your religious values. So he didn't say, should I eat milchiks or fleishiks? He didn't say, should I have salad or should I have, couscous? He asked you a very specific question to see, are you trying to control me? Is your relationship with me that you want me to be from? And that's the biggest trap in the world. So let's say the Rav doesn't have a problem with an al pi Torah, right? Then emotionally and spiritually, the medicine for the child is to say, honey, I'm past this a long time. I could tell you milchiks, fleishiks, chicken, but treif or kosher, that's your decision. If you eat treif, you eat treif. And think about it. When it's not your child, it's such a davar pashut. You go to work and you have a coworker, and he's a conservative Jew, and he eats treif. And he says, so, should I eat kosher? Yes, you should eat kosher. That he's going to become from? He's asking you, he doesn't know? If he doesn't want to eat kosher for God, he wants to eat kosher because Shmuel next to me wants me to, what does it even mean? So you want to influence him. So if it's not your child and there's no war over religion, you would say, listen, John, As far as I'm concerned, everybody should eat kosher. I think God wants you to eat kosher. Do what you want. But I think you should eat kosher. It's not going to be merachik, this guy. But with your child, it's a little bit of a different story. Why is he asking you? What does he want from you? He wants to see, he wants you, mamish, with Tränen in the Augen, should say, man tayre kind, eat kosher. Do it for me. And then he's going to say, yeah? Ha! And he's going to, McDonald's? And he's going to order McDonald's. For sure, it's not even a question. So we can't go ahead and blow our cover, and I don't mean that in a deceptive way. The point is we gave up on trying to make them frum by trying to make them frum. Now we're trying to make them healthy, first of all. That's our real goal. And if anything, they're only going to become frum if you stop trying to make them frum. Because when you try to make somebody frum that doesn't want to be frum, it just pushes them away from being frum because they just get this pressure. And nobody became frum because of pressure. I don't know, maybe 1,000 years ago. Nobody I know. They become frum when they feel healthy, and they decide, I want to re-embrace this religion. But if while I'm going through a hard time, instead of giving me a hug and supporting me and understanding my pain, all you're interested in is my Yiddishkeit, that actually, in the child's mind, is like a chil Hashem. It pushes them away. They say, I don't want to ever have anything to do with these people. They can't understand the zizkeit and beauty of Yiddishkeit, so they look at it like you're just like the Arabs. Kill all the infidels. Why? Stop it. I'm out. I'm out. I don't want this. You're all vegetarians and I want to eat meat. And every meal you're going to say, maybe you want to be a vegetarian. Maybe you want to be vegetarian. You know, cows have feelings, and chickens, they look for each other after they get, pulled out of the hen, Yeah, you sure? Stop it. You're in a cult of vegetarians. I eat meat. I'm normal, like the rest of the world. Why do I have to feel bad? If I'm going to have to feel bad every time, I'm not going to eat at home. I'll go out and eat at McDonald's. And that's what we do with Yiddishkeit. It's like they look at us, we're a little 1% of the world. I'm out. I had a bad experience. I'm not interested. I'm opting out. Opt out, and we say, can you wear a yarmulke at the table? Maybe just bench a little bit. Just make a bracha. Just wash your hand. Just wash one hand. Maida'ani. Just till nigavasser. Just do it by act. Do it for me. Do it for Bobby. Do it for Zaidi. Zaidi was a Holocaust survivor, and you have to remember, we do everything that we can to take someone who Nebuch, after being raised from, you put $250,000 of chinuch into the kid, it didn't work because of a trauma or because of an incident or because of whatever, and we think, no, just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. No, it turns them off. How do you know it turns them off? Look at their face. They just come less to the table, and they go more on the street, and they have less and less and less and less and less to do with us, which is the opposite of the influence that we want.